Wild boars invading the suburbs, a growing threat to neighborhoods and farms. What would you do if wild boars started showing up right in your backyard, putting your family and property at risk? Wild boars are intelligent, powerful, and reproduce at an alarming rate. They've become a serious headache for many countries around the world. But instead of relying on gunfire, wildlife management professionals are increasingly turning to sophisticated trapping systems to control populations in a safer, more humane way. Let's take a closer look at how this process works. You might think this is a nature reserve, but it's not. This is Rome, the capital of Italy. These wild boar families are strolling through crowded neighborhoods as if they were the true owners of the streets. With an estimated population in the millions across Italy, wild boars are rapidly losing their fear of humans. Urban waste has become an easy food source, turning them into a serious threat to traffic safety and daily urban life. What's happening in Rome is a preview of what many suburban areas around the world are beginning to face, as the boundary between city and countryside slowly disappears. So, what's the answer to this growing problem? Instead of mass culling, many countries are choosing more sustainable population management strategies. Most notably, live capture trapping followed by professional handling. One of the most effective tools is the vertical guillotine-style trap. To outsmart such an intelligent animal, experts scatter corn and sweet potatoes along established trails for several days. This builds familiarity and a sense of safety before the trap is ever activated. Take a close look at the trap's design. The frame is welded from heavy-duty angle steel and round bars, strong enough to withstand the full force of an adult boar's charge. The guillotine door hangs above the entrance and, once triggered, drops straight down along steel rails, sealing the trap in a split second. Using either manual pull systems or remote triggers, operators aim to capture the entire sounder, not just individual animals. The door is only activated once the whole group is fully inside. This method prevents scattered survivors from learning, adapting, and returning to cause more trouble later. While box traps work well for smaller groups, areas with heavy wild boar pressure require a more flexible solution, the corral trap. With its large open space, this trap allows for mass capture without making the animals feel cornered, reducing panic and stress. Corral traps are typically set in pastures, forest edges, or heavily damaged agricultural zones. Thanks to their ability to capture entire herds in a single operation, corral traps are considered one of the most effective tools for large-scale wild boar management, protecting crops while meeting humane standards. Another option includes open-top enclosures that create a sense of openness, lowering the boar's natural suspicion. The key lies in the door systems, either one-way entrances or remotely triggered gates, allowing the entire herd to enter freely before closure. Choosing the right trap, placing it in the right location, and activating it at the right moment are critical to success. Not every situation requires herd capture. For isolated boars appearing in gardens, farms, or residential yards, single catch traps offer a simple and cost-effective solution. While they're not suitable for population explosions, they're highly effective for protecting individual properties. From simple cage traps to complex corral systems, each method plays a specific role in an overall wildlife management strategy. Whether the goal is protecting crops, neighborhoods, or ecosystems, the common thread is restoring balance between humans and nature. After a successful capture, the next step is safe handling and transport. Since large traps are usually fixed in place, wild boars are guided into smaller transfer cages, reducing struggle and minimizing injury risk. Depending on local wildlife regulations, suitable animals may be relocated to controlled zones, while others are handled using approved humane methods. As transport trucks roll away from residential areas, peace is restored for local communities, bringing a responsible control operation to a close. These traps are more than technical tools. They're proof that humans can learn to coexist with wildlife, rather than constantly confront it. In suburban areas, controlling wild boars isn't about using the strongest trap. It's about using the right tool for the right situation. When intervention is timely and well-planned, conflict can be prevented before it turns into a crisis. That's how communities can live more safely alongside a changing natural world. When the city falls asleep, another world begins to move. Under the dim glow of streetlights, herds of wild boars emerge. They quietly cross the streets, pushing deeper into residential areas. They tear up gardens, search for food, and roam freely through places once considered safe human spaces. Videos recorded by residents reveal a troubling shift. Wild boars no longer stop at the forest edge. They now appear on city streets, inside neighborhoods, even right in front of people's homes. When the boundary between urban life and wildlife becomes blurred, the issue is no longer just property damage. It becomes a matter of human safety. When wild animals lose their fear of humans, risk begins to grow exponentially. This is not just a story about wild boars. These images raise a much larger question. How are we managing the shared space between humans and nature? And how can we protect our way of life while still preserving the balance of the natural world? Follow us as we continue this challenging journey. From before dawn, Martin, one of the most respected wild boar hunters in the region, was already at the trap site he had set days earlier. More than just a skilled marksman, Martin is known in the local community as a pioneer in using smart trapping systems to control wildlife safely and responsibly. Today's mission posed a serious challenge. A highly alert sounder of wild boar, and the team's responsibility was not to injure them, but to guide them back toward the forest without harm. The core strategy was pre-baiting, allowing the boar to become familiar with the trap site before any activation. The team used fermented corn and sweet bait, since wild boar find almost impossible to resist. Over several days, the entire sounder grew accustomed to the location and the food source, significantly increasing trap effectiveness while minimizing stress and panic. When the trap is finally triggered, the likelihood of capturing the entire group at once, rather than scattering individuals, makes the operation safer, faster, and far more efficient. Effective control does not come from haste, but from staying one step ahead. Martin uses Boar Buster, a modern trapping system designed specifically for wild boar and now widely deployed across the United States. Unlike traditional methods, Boar Buster allows an entire sounder to be controlled with a single activation, minimizing panic and greatly reducing the risk of boars scattering into nearby residential areas. For Martin, operating a trap is never just a technical procedure. Each activation is a responsible decision, tied directly to maintaining ecological order and protecting the everyday safety of the community. Before triggering the system, Martin carefully checks every factor: the trap's placement, the direction from which the boar approach, and the most appropriate moment to activate. Thanks to the pre-baiting process, allowing the boar to become familiar with the trap site over several days, when the entire sounder arrives, the system can be triggered with precision, keeping stress and unnecessary risk to an absolute minimum. Once the boar are securely contained, the team relocates them to a legally designated management area, ensuring the operation remains safe, controlled, and does not disrupt nearby residents. This is where technology, field experience, and patience converge. No rushed reactions, no loss of control, only proactive intervention to prevent damage, protect the community, and preserve balance within the local ecosystem.
Let's go, hip. Let's go, hip, hip. Get in there, hip, hip. Hip, 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 hip. Yeah, we gotta screw that to the bottom.
The operation didn't just bring wild boar under control, it restored peace of mind to families and the wider community. In a world where wildlife is increasingly encroaching on residential areas, smart, humane, and properly licensed solutions are the path towards sustainable management. Wildlife management is not a battle between humans and nature. It is how modern society brings together science, law, and responsibility to protect both communities and ecosystems.